Hey folks, wanted to share my experience doing mountain rides on Master Pro. Master Pro is obviously a fantastic touring EUC. It has great range, it's very powerful. At the same time, it's also very heavy, and I think this is where it gets interesting. Now, for the context, in terms of experience, I'm not the most experienced rider. I've been riding fairly regularly, but only for 9 months. I have experience with few EUCs. Before that, I have been using one wheel. I'm also a fairly heavy rider, over 250 pounds. So together with all of the gear plus weight of Master Pro, which is 118, I'm pushing probably around 400, maybe slightly more. So definitely this is something to take into consideration when you go on a ride. So going up has never been an issue. Master Pro is extremely powerful. You see, it's able to maintain a speed with my weight, going up steep incline, etc. Never had any issues. Going down is somewhat different. So anything that weighs 400 pounds will not turn or come to a complete stop abruptly. So you have to take it into consideration. When you're going downhill, even more so, right? So basically my view is that it's extremely difficult to slow down and turn at the same time. Slowing down, going downhill requires commitment. You have to have fairly good technique, sit back fairly aggressively. Doing that together with trying to counteract the lateral forces of the turn makes it highly problematic. So my view is when I'm going into the turn, I'm kind of committed to the speed. Right, and this is where technique and the level of comfort and having some safety margin is very critical. So this ride specifically up Mount Hamilton, which is a fantastic ride if you live in San Francisco Bay Area. It's about 19 miles uphill, 19 miles downhill. Not a lot of straight segments, so a lot of turns. It's impossible to memorize every turn. The road is fairly long, so unless you ride it many times, you probably will be surprised and will be missing some of the details of each of the turn. But it's great for practice. Also, it has fairly few cars, especially in weekdays or kind of off the core hours. Now, some cars still come up at any time. Also, some cars tend to go into the opposite lane on sharp turns, so that's also something that one needs to keep in mind. Make sure that you definitely stay within your lane as you're turning, but even then, sometimes you could be unpleasantly surprised. So I found this fantastic practice ride. Going down, I started with fairly cautious taking turns, and by the end of 19 miles, I noticed how much more comfortable I was. So in terms of technique, nothing shocking. Unlike riding in a straight line, here it's critical to have your knees bent so you're able to switch your weight fairly rapidly. Master Pro is a very stable EUC. As a result, I feel comfortable even with my weight to hook one leg on one side and lean to the other. This is something that's more difficult with lighter UCs. Also, there is a question of them losing traction, but on good pavement, if it's not wet, if I do not see sand, I feel fairly comfortable that it can sustain a reasonable angle. Other than that, nothing super new. Just like if you're doing it on a bike, make sure you take as much of your lane as possible, maximizing your radius. I've been practicing that as well, but this is something that's familiar to anybody who have been cycling. Overall, a fantastic ride, so highly recommend. I think especially if you need to practice with a heavy unicycle, but in general it's a great ride, very beautiful, somewhat less traffic than many others. So please enjoy.